Welcome to the Financing Simplified Podcast with Anthony Venuto. If you're looking for answers to your financial questions, let Anthony and his network of friends and associates answer regular questions that regular people have about their money. Thanks for tuning in. It's time to start simplifying your finances.
Welcome back to the Financing Simplified Podcast, where today we're going to be talking with, we have Mario Sassi here from Sassi Plumbing. And it's interesting, actually, we're going to take a little bit of a detour, talk a little bit about what's happening with, the trades, what's happening in the home renovation business. So I'm going to turn things over, kick things off. Mario, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Mario Sassi. I'm owner of Sassi Plumbing. I do all kinds of renovation, new construction, some service. I've been in business for 12 years now on my own. I've been plumbing for about 28 years. And that's it. Every day is a different day, which is fun. That's why I like doing what I'm doing. And that's all.
That's awesome. 28 years you've been plumbing.
Yeah.
So it's safe to assume at 28 years in the industry, you've seen a lot of things change.
100%.
Now, obviously, we know that during the last couple of years, there's been definitely, major boost in renovations. A lot of people going to town on their homes. Tell us a little bit about how that COVID pandemic area was for you.
Well, during COVID, it was crazy busy. Busy as busy can be. My phone didn't stop ringing, which was good. I liked it. I had to hire a guy and maybe two. Then, it was just overwhelming. I'm sure I wasn't the only one that was busy. I'm sure a lot of guys were busy too. But other than that, yeah, that's where business really made a huge difference. And I thought, I'm in trouble as soon as COVID hit. No, maybe a year, 2 years of steady work, nonstop.
No, I know.
It's crazy.
It's been interesting, and even talking with other people in trades, that particular time frame was absolutely pandemonium for a lot of people.
Crazy.
And I think it made a lot of people or broke a lot of people because, as you said, like taking on all that work and trying to keep your quality up must have been completely challenging. You mentioned
100%.
you had some employees with you, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about, the type of, without being too crazy, but tell us a little bit more about, what you see happening in the trades right now from the ground floor.
Well, right now it's funny because it's like taking a different direction. Like a lot of these younger generation, they don't want to get into the trades, which is killing the trades now because, you want the younger generation to learn, to understand, and how important it is to get into a trade. And these kids, they're all about phones, computers, technology, which is great, but it's a little too much, I think. I think the best thing to do is get out there, I think, try to learn or work with a contractor or work with a trades guy and then see what happens. Because, life's too short. These kids, they think their computers are the most important, but I think the trades are pretty huge.
You're 100% spot on, I think, and it just resonates with me because I remember going through high school. At 42 years old, when we were going through high school, it was like, do this, don't go into computers.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't go into the trades. And at that particular point, the skilled trade industry lost a huge movement. And we noticed this across the board when we were talking to people. But I think the biggest thing is now with the government, we're talking about housing, we're talking about building all these new homes. Who's going to build them?
Yeah, exactly. But you know what not scary, but you know what the interesting part was? When I was in high school, I wasn't a straight A student. I wasn't the greatest student, but you go to the guidance counselor. They're all about, your grades are not the greatest, so why don't you try a trades, get into mechanics? I was like, I don't understand. Is it because the dumb people got to get into the trades or... they think that, you're smart. Okay, go into computers and get into, be a lawyer, be a doctor. I don't know. It's just weird. It's very weird.
It is. And for people that are coming up the ranks or people that are trying to get into the industry, I think it is a very rewarding industry to be able to build something or finish something with your hands. You're actually doing something very productive.
100%.
And something that's in need, in massive need right now. What type of, obviously the schooling's changed. I know like there's like trade schools
Big
now. There's obviously the licensing and all that stuff. Walk us through like, what does that entail for, let's say, in plumbing?
I mean, in plumbing, now there's a school. It's the Ontario Trades of College, I believe, or Skilled Trades of College.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. If you want to get into the trade, it's quite a bit of money. I know a couple of guys that went through it, and the parents dished out of their pockets, 20-year-old kids, and it's not cheap.
So what you're telling me is exactly, it's not cheap.
It's not cheap. But if you get into a big corporation company, you start as an apprentice, sometimes the company will pay for you to go to school, which is George Brown, Humber College, I believe. And they'll pay for you to go to school, which is a good thing. And then you're off work for a couple of months in the school. And you get, government assistance, of course, EI. I mean, that's when I was back in the day. I don't know how it is now, but it's not bad. You still get government assistance here and there. But so if you do go to school, go to work for a company, the company pays for it. But if you're out there looking to get into the trades, you have to pay extra. And
would you say there's a lot of companies right now that are dying for employees?
No, not right now. No.
Not right now.
No.
But when things were busy,
they were crazy. Everybody was hiring. Everybody was hiring. Now they're letting everybody go.
Really?
Yeah.
And why do you think that is? Do you think it's because of inflation? Do you think it's because everything is now becoming more stable? Like, what do you think is the reason why that's happening?
You know what it is? It's because of everything's so expensive, and it's not cheap anymore. So now these guys are the owners of companies are taking more out of their pocket to pay extra for extra employees. Most of them probably sitting around drinking coffee, waiting, and they're just, they're not working, basically. So back in the day, not back in the day, maybe a few years back, they were so busy, the owners were loving it because they were making the money, and the employees are probably doing hardly anything, and they probably didn't see the bottom line. No. They really didn't see it. Now it's like, whew, now they see it because every dollar counts, every penny counts, and that's the important thing. But
there's that old saying, all tides raise ships.
Right.
Where
100%.
We saw all that money probably pouring into a lot of these companies.
Yep.
And for the trades themselves as a generality, right? Thinking about it is with the housing market right now.
Yeah.
Everything's slowed down, right? So you felt it.
Yeah.
We felt it. Everybody's feeling it. But eventually things are going to turn around. Hopefully, right? But turn around in the sense that right now we may have a lot of builders, a lot of these maybe larger companies that they have contracts, but we're seeing that sort of slowing down. And what scares me the most is construction, the skilled trades, vital to the economy.
Yeah.
It's people may definitely underestimate how important construction is. And when you're telling me
100%.
that they're not busy and some companies are laying off people, it tells me that there's some symptoms in the economy right now. There's something happening behind the scenes.
Definitely 100%.
Because everybody needs, not everybody's handy, right? For example, I got 2 left hands. My wife will always say I got 2 left hands. Call a plumber, call an electrician, because I won't touch some of this stuff. I said, this is water, and we know how dangerous water is. and electrical, forget it. I'm terrified of getting shocked. But we're looking at it right now, and it's funny because, as I said, we went through high school. I remember going through that process and thinking, hey, do I get into a trade? Do I not get into a trade? What are they paying? And we've seen that pay increase, increase and increase and increase. What happens, right? Well, this is what we say. At what point do they hit a certain cap or a certain amount of money? Not if you're self-employed, right? You can.
Right. Yeah, I understand.
But if you're a builder, let's say you're thinking about you're hiring someone.
Yeah.
You got to pay them the going rate because there's unions, there's non-union.
Well, the funny thing is, what the heck is the going rate? What the heck is the going? Because you know what? At the end of the day, there's owners and then there's contractors, and then there's trades guys. The owners will hire the contractor. Contractor will hire the trades guy. So we're like almost like the end of it all. And the contractor is trying to make as much as they can out of the owner.
So who's making the decision on what to charge? Do you even have a say at that point?
Sort of. Like now it's slowing down, but steady, because I still have my clientele, still have my contractors. They call me steady. But the contractors will be like, let's compare pricing. So let's DM this guy. Let's see how much he'll charge. Let's DM this guy. And then they compare, and then they see their work, and then they'll hire them.
So they're working based on the cheaper price now? They're not looking at
100%.
Craftsmanship anymore?
No, they don't care about that anymore.
Ooh.
They don't care.
I can attest to that. Going through multiple new construction homes,
There you go.
the craftsmanship is not there.
Horrible.
It's a completely different world to build a home where the homeowner might be GCing or they're hiring someone that they trust to GC the home. But when you're leaving it to potentially to the builder,
Yeah.
and it's not to throw builders under the bus, because obviously they're looking at their bottom line.
Of course.
We were talking about it. I think, we were saying about the younger generation. Obviously, not everybody's the same. There's some that are probably better than others. But
Yeah.
what happened to pride of ownership?
Yeah, there isn't. No more. It used to be. There used to be. I mean, when I first started, I was in new construction. Worked for Green Park, Star Lane, awesome builders. They took care of their guys. But when it's crunch time, you'll know it's crunch time because they cut corners everywhere. And it's sad because imagine now, I haven't worked for a builder in a while because I worked only steadily with contractors. I work with homeowners. I try to stay away from builders, which is sad, but I think that's the way a lot of guys are taking it right now.
Well, I think that's definitely a good thing, Mario. I mean,
Yeah.
like working for yourself obviously has its own perks. It has its benefits. And I look at, as I said, going through this process, looking at the trades, I'm looking at, I said, this is coming from a guy that's got two left hands, and I'm looking at something going, that doesn't look right. Like, that's just like, I'm like, why is there all this yellow stuff oozing from the pipes? And like, it's the glue, right? Or whatever the case is. Like, there's fallings all over the floor.
And that's not right. See, I'm OCD with that stuff. Like if I see something dripping right away, I gotta clean it. Or I don't know. I guess that's just me. I don't know.
I agree. Look, Mir, like I have friends that are in the trades. I got some really good buddies that are in the trades, and I got one buddy, electrician, really good guy. When he does something, it's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like he's one of those guys that's like, if it's not perfect, I'm not doing it. He shows me pictures of his panel, like,
nice and straight.
Nice and straight. The wires are, perfect, all like numbered, everything beautifully labeled. And I'm like, then I go look at my panel and I'm like,
crazy.
As an Italian, as we're Italians, this was something that was, I don't want to go and say sacred, but it was a lot of it. When I was growing up, everybody was in the trades. Everybody was Italian, right? We were all Italian or Portuguese,
Italian, Greek.
That's
it.
And we need, obviously, immigration is important, right? We definitely
100%. Yeah.
We don't have, as you mentioned, the younger generation. Maybe they're not interested. They're realizing, hey, there's other opportunities. Someone comes to the country, maybe doesn't speak the language, but they can pick up a screwdriver. They can pick up a tool, and expand, build their own empire, so to speak.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like I said, I look at that situation. I say to myself, Canada is faced with 1.2 million Canadians that arrived last year.
Mm-hmm.
We need people in all different walks of life, but we want to build all these homes. For me, it's that question. Who's going to build these homes if we're not training? If companies they don't want to pay for these individuals to, maybe some of the companies will, some of the companies won't. But we need to have that motivation. I remember going through school. Do you remember the skills? Like you remember?
Yeah.
You were saying about we were talking off camera about the guidance counselor. We were talking about that. They told me the same thing. They're like, you had co-op. You went in. You tried different things. You learned. You realized quickly if you liked it or you didn't like it.
That's right.
Like I know with a lot of the trades that my remember when we were going through high school, they would say I have to get like to 5,000 hours or something like
Yeah,
that. I don't know if that's changed now.
It's 9,000 hours actually.
9,000 hours.
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And you slowly work your way from, we call them journeyman. I don't know if
That's
that's
right.
still the term they
Yeah,
use.
it's still there. Yeah.
They call them journeyman
Yeah.
to get to that point. And I remember talking to a couple guys during the pandemic, during the height of the market. They were telling me like some crazy stories. They were like,
Yeah.
we were paying guys $25 an hour in HVAC just to start. They didn't even know how to hold a pair of the shears. They didn't know, you know what I mean? Like, but the companies were
It's crazy.
were
Yeah,
just,
that's what I mean.
They were just dying to have somebody because they had nobody
A
to
body
do
just to be there. That's why now
Is it
they
still
can
like
see-
that though?
No, now it's they. That's why they're looking at every little thing. That's why every little penny counts.
As a general contractor that owns your own business, are you looking for the long-term jobs, or do you prefer to have something a bit more?
No, long term.
You
I
do
love
want
the
that, or
long
don't
term.
want?
Yeah,
You do like that?
because I like building relationships.
Okay.
I love it, and for me, a person will call me like 10 years down the road. Hey, Mary, hey, like we were just yesterday.
But
which is
for
nice.
you, financially, would it be in your best interest to charge job by job, like go, let's say, every 2 weeks and change up jobs, or do you want to get that 1 year contract and maybe like a big condominium?
Yeah, you know what? Now it's weird because a lot of guys they want to get rich today.
But sometimes
It's
they're
like-
pricing it to say, I don't want the job. So let me,
That's what it is too.
right? I don't want this job. So I'm going to price it ridiculously so
100%.
that if they take it, it's worth my efforts.
Yeah.
If it's not,
That's it.
as we say in time, vatini, right?
Yeah,
Go-
no skin off my back.
But with everything, I mean, this is something that when we look at the entire industry, we look at plumbing, contracting, everything that you're doing,
Yeah.
it's so, I can't stress it enough to people, like especially the younger generation, to get into those trades.
Yeah.
Because we need people that are able to build homes, build with their two hands, do
That's
something
right.
productive.
That's right.
And like Stefan was saying off camera, you know, we have to have some type of consistency, whether it be pricing or what they're
Yeah.
paying people, but we need to get back to some fundamentals here in this.
100%. That's what I believe in. That's what I believe in because you know what? There's a good plumber and then there's a plumber where it's like, I really don't care how my workmanship, as long as I get paid.
So on that note, Mario, tell me some of the craziest things that you've seen, some of the jobs that you've had to go into, and you've had to repair or basically fix somebody's mistake.
So, okay, we all know underground drains are 4-inch big pipe. A lady called me a few years back and said, my draining is slowing it's draining very slowly. It's like, okay, so I put the snake down, everything was fine. A week later, she calls me again. She goes, this has been happening ever since I renovated my basement. And I was like, okay. So I was like, you know what? The best thing to do, put a camera down. Put a camera down. I was like, wait a minute, this pipe looks a little thinner. Doesn't look right. Open it all up. They ran 2-inch pipe for drain pipe, which is 2-inch pipe is small compared to a 4-inch, like double. And they didn't know the contractor's name. They didn't know their address. They just had the name and that's it. So they did all their plumbing, of course, for a lot less than what a regular plumber would charge.
That's crazy.
So that's why I was like, what the heck is going on here?
This is where we have a big problem, right?
Yeah.
We have that people are maybe used to it. Like if you're training someone, right? Like
It's crazy. I mean, you go by the books. You got to go by the codes, but people that are coming from different countries, they don't really know the codes. But they're hiring those people, and they think they're getting a good deal. You try to educate the homeowners. They just want a better deal. They don't care.
Do you want to work with the homeowner or the builder?
I prefer to work with the homeowner, personally,
Really?
because the builder wants to take, of course, a cut.
But the builder knows what he wants, where the homeowner may not know, and you would have to educate them, waste more time.
That too. And you know what the thing is too? The homeowner, I want it this way. And the builder would suggest it another way and tell them, oh, no, it's better like this. Just try to do it. But the homeowner is not really happy, but okay, I'll go with it. At the end of the day, the builder is like happy because he made his money. but the homeowner is not happy.
No,
but
it's true.
they spent the money.
The homeowners, like we work, like it's like working directly. It's like when working with the client.
Yeah.
I think there is that component where we're getting with all this technology that we have today. I mean, this is some of the advantages we have. Maybe more people think they know what they want, but they don't. But then there's people that don't know what they want, but they're hiring you as a professional to come in and
100%.
tell them, say, how do we do this? How do we fix this problem?
That's right.
Like that client there, like why did somebody put 2-inch pipe in their basement when they should have put 4?
Exactly.
Like what is the cost? You're already trenched everything.
That's right.
Well, they're trying to cut corners.
That's
I mean, how much are you saving? How
But
much
the
are you
thing is-
saving in pipe?
The question for both of you is that would you ever barter your pricing, especially in this market, both of you, for your mortgage and for your tradesman?
I've done
as
it
a plumber?
before. I've done it
Would you?
before. Depends though.
Depends on the situation.
Well, we don't charge generally we're not charging our clients, right? So we're getting paid by the lender. But
I see.
what we end up doing is providing that service to the client, and it's about what value that client's going to get out of the interaction.
Yeah.
So, for example, maybe the person doesn't know how to plumb, doesn't know what to do, but you know what? Mario comes in and says, "Hey, this is what we're doing. You know, take a look at it. This is how it's going to happen." Some clients are going to want to know that, right? Some clients are going to be like, "Okay, tell me what we're doing. How's this?"
Yeah.
Some people just be like, "Get it done, Mario, just do it." But if you educate them a little bit, you say, "Hey, this is your, I don't know, P trap, right?
Yeah.
This is your drain. This
Yeah.
is how you do a clean out, right? Like, do a lot of people know that? Like,
And to be honest, this is why, like back in the day, when I first started, I was doing videos. When I first started, I was like, you know what? Let me take videos and show the actual client and show them what the heck I'm doing. And then I started doing it, and then people are like, "Hey, why don't you post that on Instagram? Hey, why don't you do?" And so I was like, you know what? Why not? And then I started doing it, and then this and that, and then
Has it ever backfired on you though? Showing people.
yeah. Well,
it has.
this is the funny part because you do it, you show it, and then this and that's nice. All of a sudden, you get comments from plumbers. All right, why would you do it like this? You should have did it like this. I was like, really? But there's like different ways of doing plumbing.
A lot of jealousy, perhaps. Do you think there's a lot of jealousy in your industry?
There is, yeah, 100%.
And is
100%.
that because of a lack of knowledge,
Yes.
or it's because of ego, where they think that they're better even if they're wrong?
You know what the funny part is? Okay, like there's guys out there that'll show, oh, look at my fleet of trucks. Look at all these guys I have working for me. Look at this, look at that. I was like, come on, like, we're all in the same boat at the end of the day. You want to show that you have so much, and
I don't know,
It could
maybe I'm cynical. I look at stuff like that, and I'm like, either the company's doing really, really well, or wow, look at the overhead.
that's what, yeah, it's true.
I don't think that's true. I can definitely challenge that.
What? Go ahead.
No, I don't think that's it at all.
Oh.
I think COVID played a very big factor in all of this. I
Yeah.
really do. I think that, okay, CERB is another story for another day, but the mentality of people changed. Do you not agree with that, Anth? Didn't COVID change it almost night and day?
It absolutely did. It changed everything for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people came out of this the same.
Do you think you came out of it the same?
No, absolutely not.
What do you think is the fundamental change for you?
Well, it was because we had gone through a basement renovation during COVID, right? We were in the process of doing some renovations, and it was basically like, because you're home, like we were home through this stuff.
That's what it is.
Right? It was home through the stuff, living through it and learning, and like I said, the amount of attention that was provided, because it's like, hey, Anth, come down here. I got to show you this. Hey, Anth, we're ripping down the drywall. Look at the insulation. There's some moisture, right? All these things. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know this. Like I gained a different respect for trades. I learned a couple different things through COVID, but at the end of the day, we came out of it thinking that, is the world going to be the same? Because we were going to the point where everybody was working from home.
100%.
Those who could work from home, worked from home.
Yeah.
And we took a lot of things for granted. Like prior to that, I think we were more, at least for myself, I can speak, more materialistic. Then we started to learn very quickly what we need to survive and what we don't need to survive.
So you gained an appreciation for the tradesman.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I had friends that were in trades. They were working. They were putting themselves at risk daily. Like, listen, I hear horror stories. I know exactly what these portalettes look like on these construction sites. I know the stories that I got buddies that work in high rise. They have overalls. It's minus 30 outside just to go to the, just to.
So you gained an appreciation, but on the flip side, you lost respect for the homeowner, didn't you? Because during COVID, and they were home, and they were meticulous, and they were naive, and they were picky. All of a sudden, did your credentials and your educated experience get questioned by someone who should never touch a wrench?
100%.
Why do you think that happened?
Because you're there, and for me, experience and stuff, it will take me probably a half an hour to do a 3-hour job or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, you're already done. Well, I'm not gonna pay you for this. Well, what is this?" I was like, "Well, I'm not charging by the hour. I'm charging by the job.
The piecework.
I don't care. I'm gonna pay you only $10 or whatever."
That actually happened though.
Yeah, I was done
so
like
how
that.
how can they negotiate a price? You gave them a price on the job.
Yeah, so I installed. Let's say I installed the toilet. Okay, can I say prices and stuff?
Sure.
So $150 to install a toilet. Now I know if you go to Home Depot and stuff like that, they charge $380 just to install the toilet. So I charge $150.
Just to install the toilet?
The toilet, yes. $380.
Not including buying the toilet from them.
No, that's just the installation.
Okay, go ahead.
So I charge $150. So I was like, okay. So I got there, took out the toilet, put in the new toilet. Everything was perfect. Literally not even a half an hour. So he's like, "Oh, $150. That's less than an hour." I was like, "Yeah." So I'm paying you over $150 an hour. I go, "But I'm not, we're not talking about hourly rates. I'm talking about, this is what I charge per job. For the job, I charge this much."
But it's your experience that got you to do it in half an hour.
That's right.
They're not paying you for the.
No, but
they're paying for experience.
That they're not looking at it that way.
Now that COVID's done, now are we singing a different tune? Now
A little bit, yeah.
Are they?
A little bit, yeah. A little
See,
bit.
but you're saying a little bit.
No, it's still the same, because now it's a different direction now. People are watching what they're spending. So it's like,
so now the dollars
so now
have
the
a bit more
dollars change.
value.
That's right. So I was like,
I wonder why that is.
Tell me, Anthony, why do you think that is?
Well, let's take a second and rewind. What
these
happened
mortgage
during
guys? I don't know.
guys, I'm telling you, I mean, look, at the end of the day, as I said, all tides raise ships. So there was a lot of people that were stuck in their homes.
Yeah, 100%.
They quickly realized how much attention some of their houses actually needed.
Yeah.
Or how to repurpose these spaces, because if I'm going to be working from home and I'm going to be with the kids and the wife all day, I need a place. So basement renovations, fixing stuff, relocating stuff, but they were financing it. I mean, money was cheap. Let's call a spade a spade. You can take out a line of credit and you were paying 2.45% on a line of credit.
That's crazy. Holy cow.
That's free. That's free money today.
It is.
Right? You got a mortgage. Some clients, we had mortgages with a 1 in front of it.
I have a 1.9, which is expiring this year. 1.9.
I know somebody that can help you with that.
Yeah, let me know after the show.
Oh, that's good.
But think about that for a second. This helped a lot of people, because people used their money to renovate their homes. Listen, there's a lot of people that used money foolishly. We're not going to.
I know a lot of people that use money foolishly.
Right, but I always say, if you're going to take the money out of your home and the equity out of your home to put it back into your home, you're increasing.
That's different.
You're increasing the enjoyment level. You're increasing the value of your home. You're bringing things up to code, up to par. Because let's face it, sometimes we're looking at homes, like my parents went through one. And I'm like, I'll tell you a story. They had to rip apart the upstairs.
Okay.
And when they pulled apart the bathtub, it was in the show bathroom. The Italians have the show bathroom that nobody uses the bathroom.
Yeah.
But they decided to do it because I don't know why. But anyway, there was the tub. There was a pipe that was literally up against the tub. If somebody of my weight would have actually showered in that at some point,
oh my God,
it would have broke through the floor, because it was just flexing on the pipe. And then we're looking at the mold, the mold behind the shower. Imagine. Because there was no, what was it called? The rock salt, or not rock salt, the drywall.
The drywall, yeah.
The specific drywall that's anti-mold and stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, they didn't build with that stuff.
No, they probably used the green drywall, I believe.
Yeah. Now it's coated. There's all the...
it's all the Curdy board and all that stuff.
So why is that important? Tell me.
Well, I mean, if you get moisture, it protects the moisture from hitting the wood behind the insulation and stuff like that.
You must see some crazy when you're ripping apart some stuff crazy.
Oh yeah, all kinds. I mean,
tell us some of those crazy stories.
You don't wanna
find
know.
any
I
treasures,
swear you don't.
Picassos, anything?
yeah, a couple of turds and yeah.
Get out of here. Get
So
out of here.
yeah,
For real?
especially in new construction. Like when I was younger, I had to install tubs, and you go up into the room and then you see people,
Defecating in there.
doing their business in.
Oh, it
area.
happened to my parents. There was turds in the HVAC.
Man, do you see? What the heck?
They had nowhere to go.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, get a cleaner over here. Get a guy to clean it. Oh, I'm not going to clean it. Just install it. Like, I'm not going to install it.
Just install it.
So I call my boss. Years ago, I call my boss. Oh, what am I going to do here? You want me to install it or what? Mary, do what you got to do. I was like, okay. I got to finish it.
You want to hear, like I said, you want to hear a story. You just jogged my memory with this, and it goes to show you. Like I said, I believe everybody has to learn somewhere. I remember, like you were there. You were the young apprentice walking yourself through
Right.
the ranks, right? And you're trying to learn. So we were getting the faucet installed in the house.
Yeah.
And they sent that young apprentice. They sent some kid, and it was one of those touch faucets, right?
Oh, okay.
So you have to. I don't know how it works. Just know when you touch it, it turns on.
Yeah.
If you touch it, it turns off.
Yeah.
And they ended up running it, but I hear them on the phone with, I guess, his boss or whatever the case is. He's like, "It's working," and he's like, "I don't know how it's working, but it's working." And he's on speaker with the boss. And you know what the boss says? "Get the F out of there, then."
Oh my God.
Right? Like, and then I'm like, whoa. But it's like it didn't, like it was like it wasn't done properly. I'm like, buddy, tell the guy that's on the phone to get over here now and make sure this thing works, because it's like it was working intermittently.
See?
And he's on the phone with the boss, and I'm sitting there going, "Are you really? Did you really just say that? Get the F out of there?"
Oh man.
So, what? We're not dropping any names, but I hope this is not a common occurrence.
I don't know now because I haven't done new homes in a while. I only do it for contractors, but production homes, I could totally see that happening.
Let me ask you something, and Anth, of course, chime in because you're in the forefront of technology. How has technology changed your job?
Yeah, I mean, even with the cameras and stuff like that, the technology is crazy, but it's expensive.
Question is, do you? Yeah. So that's the other question. Do you use it? And if so, is the initial cost quite a hit?
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't do camera inspections, but there are companies that do, and they charge an arm and a leg. Because of the camera itself, I think it runs from $10,000 to $15,000.
10 to 15 grand
for the camera.
How many
itself.
jobs would you have to do in order to
that's
pay
what
that
I mean.
off?
So then now a client calls us, "Oh, I got something stuck in the drain, and camera inspection, $700. I got to take a look." So the homeowner's tied. What do I do? Do I call another plumber? Then you call another plumber, and guy, I don't want to be whatever, doesn't speak proper English, will probably do it for half the price and probably fix it for whatever and probably don't do a good job.
But you're saying half the price, but they had to initially buy
and
this
that's
crazy expensive equipment.
But that's what kills the trade too, because us trades guys, we try to keep a price and we try to keep it at that level, and then you get guys that are just dipping in pricing, and it's like, what the heck? What do I do now? It's
And I get it. I mean, with that, I get it. With that initial
horrible.
investment, it's tough to be. And listen, we're always in competition.
yeah.
To some degree, it is healthy, but I think, especially when it comes to something where you're doing,
Yeah.
and it comes to your house, do it right. Get what would you
100%.
suggest? Get multiple quotes. See, like I always say, if I'm getting multiple quotes on a home,
You know what? This is my motto, and I tell everybody this. Ask around, especially your friends. Talk to your friends and say, "Hey, listen, do you know anybody you trust?" So don't
Word of mouth.
Yeah, don't call. Don't
So
go on
don't
Kijiji.
do what Anth is saying. Don't get quotes.
Well, you could, but again, personally, I would just ask your friends, man. To be honest, because you don't want to just bring anybody in there and say, okay, let's see what Bob is going to charge me.
I agree. But that's what we do is we turn to our network and say,
And
like, for example, now that we met Mario, right? And,
Yeah.
you reach out and you say, look, Mario, come by, give me a quote. Like, what is it going to cost us, like, to do the job?
right.
And you see, like, everybody's at a certain point, right? Everybody's within a little bit of each other.
Right.
And then there's one guy who's all way out, either he's way out to left field on the high price or he's
Yeah.
way out to left field on the low price. And I always look and then say, if everybody I'm quoting is at one price or
Yeah.
level, and this guy's down here, what am I not getting?
That's
That
right.
at least in my that's what
Yeah.
crosses my mind. And some people might look at that, oh, that's the guy we're using, right? And I'm thinking, is that always the best route
Yeah.
or the right course of action?
So, having said that, and as we approach the final question of this episode, because we are touching on 43
that's
minutes already.
horrible.
43 minutes already. Listen,
Wow.
you want to talk for 2 hours? We can go 2 hours. I do have a very important question that I think is overlooked a lot, especially in your industry and your industry. Nowadays, a lot more people are becoming mortgage brokers. Funny enough, it's like I
so
think it was
true.
8,000 more in 2023, something crazy. And of course, as a plumber, there's a lot of apprentices, but tradesmen to get their license is not as easy because you got to do some schooling. Having said that, do you feel like you have to compromise your price now with the inflationary amount of mortgage brokers coming in, or do you have to now cautiously watch your pricing now that COVID is done and people are starting to look at that wallet now?
Yeah, good question. Good question.
Well, I can kick this off.
Go ahead.
Doesn't matter how many mortgage brokers there are. Obviously, that's a problem. Not a problem in a bad way, but a problem in the sense of now you have a whole bunch of people that went and took a course. The barrier to entry is cheap to become a mortgage professional. So think about it this way. If you're listening to the video, you're watching, you can go in on a Friday, come on a Monday, and you can write a mortgage,
That's what I heard.
right? So think about that. I was like, okay, that's great. But how much do you trust that person who's just done a weekend course? How much do they really know about the process? Now, we're not saying that, look, you're not saying that this person isn't qualified. Maybe they came from a banking background. Maybe they had some previous knowledge on mortgages, but the reality is they don't have the life experience.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to start somewhere. Look, remember we were talking about that journey,
Yeah.
right? Getting to the point where you've been in the industry 5 years. The best way to learn anything is on site,
Yeah.
is at the desk, on the job, learning how things actually work.
100%.
Theory and practicality are two different things.
100%. 100%. But you know what I noticed? A lot of real estate agents are getting into mortgage brokers.
Well, do you know why? And I can say they all think that now mortgage brokers, they make all this money, tons of money, and they think it's a easy, cash grab, which it 1,000% isn't.
Yeah.
That's not the real world.
That's what I hear.
But having said that, for you,
Yeah.
as a plumber, and I know a lot of plumbers as well,
Yeah.
do you feel now you're in a situation where you got to compromise your pricing? Because if you're on the higher end, you're considered, you can't reach this guy, he's over budget, he's going to bring me over budget.
Yeah.
Or on the flip side, and I deal with this in my industry, if you're too low, you're considered as cheap. And you
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing, so you're sacrificing.
Yeah.
But the people you're against are the ones that now all of a sudden the consumer's looking at the price.
Mhm.
So they're going to get a shit job,
That's right.
but you don't offer shit work. So
Right.
what do you do? What are you doing right now to navigate these very difficult times?
Well, again, it's social media. That's my resume. I know it's hard, but it's more like call that person I did the job for. Get their feedback. Don't just, rely on my price or whatever. So a lot of the people that reach out to me, they've contacted Bob or Jim or whoever before I did, and I did the job for.
So they want to hire you, but they're just looking around first.
Right. They're scared.
Ah.
But it's like the word. I've been around for a while, for a long time. And it's more like I tell everybody, word of mouth. Don't just hire somebody you look at, look, this guy's got all this following and this and that.
And you're the
But-
same, right?
But I love that because it said when you're on social media, let's all face it, we're on social media, we're playing with our phones while we're on the toilet, probably, right? Right?
100%.
100%. But you're scrolling, you're looking at their page, you're looking at what they do. And
Yeah.
I think, as I said, if you're showcasing your work and your craftsmanship,
Yeah.
it should speak volumes for what you do.
100%.
But you act, like I said, in our industry, it's very challenging to be on social media, right? It's like, hey, look, I just did a mortgage, or, you
Yeah.
can't really say, hey, I worked for, I helped this client and here's the story, because you have to be confidential, right?
Yeah.
So it's challenging when you have something a little bit more tangible. But I believe that you have to look at the situation and say, if you're someone perusing the Instagram, we talked about it, said, like, if I get a quote, it's not like I'm getting a quote from random people. First place that I go to is our network, our friends, our family. Hey, do we have a plumber? Yeah, call this guy.
That's right.
And as I said, just to be fair, like, I know we have people, like, not plumbers, but let's say an electrician. I've got a buddy of mine. Like, I'm not going to call somebody. I'm going to call my buddy, right?
Yeah.
Like, but
And you'll ask him.
I'll ask him, and he'll say, okay, call this guy, talk to this guy, do this, do
That's
this,
right.
do that. Tell me, what is the problem with Kitec Plumbing?
Well, Kitec Plumbing, there's it's like a little copper, not even, it's like a little film around the pipe. And that is totally illegal because we're drinking out of that, and we use that every day, washing, we use it for our teeth, brushing our teeth and stuff. So it's not good for consumption. Now, back in the day, they thought, okay, whatever it is, it is. And they did thousands, I don't know how many thousands of homes are with this Kitec illegal. It's illegal now.
So what are you seeing with Kitec in the sense of the installation? Like, what would you say the time frame is if, let's say, a buyer's looking at purchasing a home or a condo?
Yeah.
Because sometimes they have a home inspection, sometimes they don't.
Yes.
What would be, you say, the era, the years that was sort of more popular?
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
Late 80s, like 89, 91, 92.
And
up to 96, I believe. 90.
And does all of it have to be replaced? Like, they got to rip
All of
everything out?
everything.
Right? Everything.
Everything, yeah. They have to rip
Who's
it.
funding that?
Well, sometimes the insurance companies, I believe, but before you buy the place, see, this is where I don't get. Sometimes insurance companies won't insure you.
They won't. Some of them sometimes, or you have to get specific insurance for Kitec.
Yes.
We've had that happen with some of our clients. Or the home seller, once it's brought to their attention, or they know they have to remedy it. They have to pull everything out, fix it, and then go ahead, and then that's part of the contract. Because it's a really big thing. Like, sometimes it goes without we're talking to clients, and you're looking at that condo, and you're like, because we know that at the time when it was crazy, we're talking about how crazy people were not able to put in home inspection clauses. They weren't able to do any of that. So you're sitting there going, and as a broker, just because we have that little bit of background knowledge, you're looking at the construction year. That's why it's so important for realtors to put that information in, because you're like, check if this place has Kitec, right? Like, ask them, because sometimes they know, sometimes they don't know, and they have to fix it. I know there's people that fixed it. They had to fix it around the condo. Some people that fixed it from upstairs and down. It's a disaster, right?
It is. It's expensive. Whole expensive. It's not cheap.
So they just replace. What's the new standard, new code? I know everything's like pipes. I see like
PEX piping,
piping
is good. Worsbo, which is another brand of plastic piping, but PEX, I think, is more reputable.
What happened to copper?
I know. Copper, no more. It's so expensive now.
I know. I remember as a kid watching my dad like fixing the pipe with the well.
Coppering. I love to solder copper. And when I first started in the trades, they introduced PEX. So they introduced the PEX piping.
How popular is PVC still?
PVC is all underground, so it's still going.
Nothing above ground?
Nothing above. That's only in the States.
Yeah, because in the United States, it's still a lot.
White PVC piping.
PVC piping inside is a lot.
Yeah.
But Canada does not use it no more.
No. They never, I don't think they've ever used it. They use PVC underground only. Above ground, they don't. Yeah.
And
ABS, you're thinking.
Yeah, ABS, I think you're thinking. You're thinking
pipe?
the black pipe.
Thank you. See, that's why we have a plumber on the podcast.
But this is why this is important, because these are conversations that homeowners are looking at and saying, hey, wait a minute. And we were talking about this off camera, was the difference in some of these pipes. Remember we were about
the color. So if you're a homeowner looking at it, orange or blue, those are the colors of Kitec.
Orange or blue.
Ooh. Orange and blue. That's the only. Those
so
are the worst.
if you see something that's orange and blue, and your home was built in the early 90s, you might have Kitec.
Buyer beware.
Buyer beware. Absolutely, buyer beware. Last thing, wanted to ask you this question about the. As I said, we talked about the piping. We talked about we said orange and blue.
Yeah.
if a client is going to do the DIY, right? They're going to do. We were talking about this. Is there's a difference in the price because obviously there's some suppliers. We know there's lots of suppliers out there. They have to be very cautious of what they're buying,
Yes.
and what they're paying for because if it's, and we're not saying that if it's made in a specific continent that it's a less of a better product, but they have to be careful because we notice with some of the pipes they're very fragile.
Yes.
And especially if you're doing stuff where you need that, it's water, guys. Let's put it this way: it's water. If it's running, I was telling the story about my friend took a shower, pipe burst right through the ceiling, not plugged in, obviously not plugged in, but the piping itself has to be durable, guys. They said like when you're doing it yourself, sometimes there's places where you can save money, but there's certain places where you can't and you shouldn't be saving money. That's just not the case. It's not the way it works.
You know what makes me very passionate?
What?
Finding out where people can, get more information on you guys.
I like how you slipped that in there, right?
Anthony, what do you think, Anth?
Well, Mario, we were talking on Instagram. Tell us where they can find you on social media.
Okay, social media. I'm on TikTok. I know it's crazy, this TikTok thing. TikTok is going nuts, man. I tell you. Then I got LinkedIn, which is funny because then everybody wants you to hire them and they don't speak a word of English. Then I got Instagram. And
What are your handles? What are your handles?
Sassi Plumbing.
At Sassi Plumbing.
Right. Sassi_plumbing, I believe. Yeah.
Good.
And that's it.
And for us, you can find us obviously on social media. We have X, we have TikTok as well. We definitely on Instagram, YouTube, and our website. I'll add In Touch Mortgages and In Touch Mortgages. But Mario, once again, I want to thank you for coming on the show, having a very open and friendly conversation today with our good man Stefano behind the mic. One day we'll have him on the camera. I think.
Maybe.
One day I got to put him here at the camera because I love his questions. I love everything he does. But
thank you.
We're going to end the video here, wishing everyone a wonderful day ahead of us. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well done.
Welcome to the Financing Simplified Podcast with Anthony Venuto. If you're looking for answers to your financial questions, let Anthony and his network of friends and associates answer regular questions that regular people have about their money. Thanks for tuning in. It's time to start simplifying your finances.